Haven't seen the movie, so cannot judge. But Emilia Perez, everything wrong with modern Hollywood. Let's see what the critical drinker has to say about it.
Albert Einstein once famously remarked that if you put your hand on a hot stove for a minute, it seems like an hour. On the other hand, sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute. Then again, Albert Einstein never had to sit through 133 minutes of Emilia Perez, a movie so bone-crunchingly, brain-meltingly, bowel-emptyingly tedious, trite, overwrought, pretentious and pandering that it actually manages to collapse in on itself and form its own singularity of anti-entertainment, stretching minutes into what seems like ice ages and making me ask for like the 500th time in recent years, what the hell is wrong with modern Hollywood?
My first thought would be a lot.
Anyway, let's get this evisceration over with quickly because I need something to dull the memory of this film, like a cordless drill. So the movie is told from the point of view of Rita, an attorney working in Mexico, played by the always capable Zoe Saldaña, who is by far the best thing about this entire movie. Anyway, Rita's far more intelligent than the dumb, incompetent men around her and has to spoon feed them through their own cases in the middle of a courtroom. I know this because the movie literally tells me exactly what to think. No time for subtle inferences here, people. Go, go, go! Anyway, after helping an abusive husband walk free from murdering his wife, for which Rita carries absolutely no guilt or atones for in any way, she's contacted by the infamous cartel boss Manitas Del Monte. Wait a minute, Del Monte? The man from Del Monte, he says yes! Anyway, so it turns out that the man from Del Monte doesn't want to be a man anymore. He wants a sex change operation to become a woman and to leave his brutal past behind him by faking his own death and starting a new life. And for some reason, he entrusts all of this to an obscure lawyer that he's never even met before.
See, that's a problem.
Sounds like a winning plan to me, bro.
That's bad.
So after dicking around for a bit, the man from Del Monte puts his plan into action. His wife and kids are told that he's been killed, Rita has a good cry for some reason, and the man from Del Monte becomes the woman from Del Monte, now known as Emilia Perez. Skip forward 4 years and Rita's living the high life in London from her ill-gotten gains when, wouldn't you know it, she happens to bump into Emilia again.
Fuck.
It turns out that Emilia wants to see her family again, so together they concoct an elaborate scheme to bring them back to live with her in Mexico, where she pretends to be a long-lost cousin from the man from Del Monte. And somehow, Emilia's ex-wife totally doesn't recognize her or suspect that anything might be amiss. Yeah, don't worry, love. This 6-foot-tall, 200-pound woman that you've never met before and just suddenly showed up with truckloads of money claiming to be a long-lost family member is definitely legit. No reason to question this one bit. Anyway, things are going just swell until Emilia gets a sudden bout of guilty conscience and decides that she wants to make amends for her past actions by recovering the bodies of cartel victims and reuniting them with their families so they can have some kind of closure. And I love how the movie portrays this as some sort of beautiful, selfless act of kindness on her part. Motherfucker, you're the reason most of these people are in the
Wow, such kindness of heart. Literally the reason, like, oh my god, okay, now that like my life is boring, let me just, maybe before I die, let me just repent, you know, like, what?
In the first place, you dick. Oh, in case you hadn't noticed, someone put a magnet on this movie's moral compass because characters are almost never held to account for their past actions. Like, I totally get that Emilia started a new life now and in some ways sees herself as a whole new person, but I'm sorry, getting a sex change doesn't magically erase all the bad things you've done in your life.
Exactly.
Anyway, while all this is going on, Emilia's ex-wife rekindles an affair that she's been having with another man before leaving Mexico, and Emilia herself starts a romance with the wife of one of the cartel victims that she helped to recover.
Right.
This is like Days of Our Lives level writing we're going for here. In fact, no, forget that. Days of Our Lives is probably better than this. Anyway, eventually Emilia gets a little too possessive with her former family and threatens her ex-wife. Ha, you can take the lad out of the cartel, but you can't take the cartel out of the lad, eh? So her wife runs away with her lover, and then they kidnapped Emilia and demand a ransom from Rita, but then there's a big shootout when she tries to get her back, and then all three of them try to escape, but then drive off a cliff and die. And Emilia gets a big funeral, and everyone acts like she's some kind of martyr for truth and justice. And that's it. That's the plot for Emilia Perez.
She's a monster.
Where the fuck fuck do I even start with this film? I mean, I could talk about the cringe-inducing musical numbers that genuinely made me regret the invention of music as an art form, and I don't just mean this little number.
Men to woman, or woman to men.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina.
No. There's no way. There is no way. I thought it's not even in English.
I mean literally every song in this movie, which is mostly just discordant, disharmonious, obnoxious noise with no real melody or technical skill to back it up.
Why do they
I could
do
talk
that?
about the cast of completely unlikable arseholes, none of which inspired anything even resembling empathy or interest in me, and who I genuinely...
Honestly, like lately I feel like musicals are about not having a melody anymore. Like things don't even have to rhyme anymore. We're gonna be like down low and then suddenly we're gonna be real high and like, you know, and nothing makes sense. And you're like talking about flowers, the next moment you're talking about credits. What is going on? Why? Why do they like to torture us?
Didn't care if any of them lived or died by the ends. I could mention the totally reductive and stereotypical depiction of Mexico as a corrupt, crime-ridden shithole with the cliched Hollywood piss filter applied to everything. I could criticize the complete lack of moral accountability, where the movie practically demands that we accept Emilia as a good, righteous, well-meaning person just because she had a sex change. I could even criticize the hammy acting and the melodramatic dialogue that feels like it came from a Mexican soap opera instead of a supposedly serious crime drama. But you know what? I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to get right to the core of the problem and say that the movie's biggest issue is that it's fucking boring. It goes on what feels like forever. There's big long stretches where the plot just kind of grinds to a halt, and by the 60-minute mark I was feeling like Tatiana on date night, desperately gritting my teeth and hoping it would be over soon. But it wasn't. The thing is, deep down in the core of this movie, I think there's actually a half-decent story about a man trying to escape his dark past through the creation of a new identity, only to be pulled back in by trying to atone for his misdeeds and ultimately forced to
That makes
reconcile
sense,
who
but
he
we have
was
seen
with
a
who
movie
he
like
is
that
now.
before, right?
All told from the perspective of an increasingly jaded woman lured into a world she doesn't understand and desperately wants to escape. But it's all buried under so much ridiculous, overwrought soap opera bullshit that it's impossible to take seriously. There's no genuine attempt to grapple with the repercussions of the character's shitty life decisions, and for all her do-good charity work, I never got the impression that Emilia felt any true remorse for the things she'd done, and she was certainly never held accountable for any of it. Neither was Rita, who was arguably just as culpable and was absolutely an accessory to multiple crimes, including harboring a known felon and covering up multiple murders.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's like an oppressed minority or something, I guess, so that makes it fine.
Bullshit!
And the thing is, it would be entirely possible to overlook all of this, even overlook the film itself, if Hollywood didn't insist on showering it with every accolade that's ever been invented. Much like the ending of the film itself, where an entirely undeserving individual is elevated to a status that they absolutely don't deserve, Emilia Perez the movie has been held aloft like the second coming of Citizen Kane, with 13 Academy Award nominations.
Bro, what?
Really?
Fucking teen. That literally puts it right up there with some of the greatest movies ever made. And let's not kid ourselves here, there's one very good reason why this film has been pushed so hard in Hollywood, and it's got nothing to do with its objective quality. Emilia Perez is the literal personification of the hollow, performative, cliched lecturing that Hollywood does best. Ironically enough, pissing off the very people that it's trying so hard to pander to. LGBT people, women, and even the entire country of Mexico seem to fucking hate this film. And quite frankly, I stand right by their side. But you know what? I hope it wins.
Then
I
how
hope it
did it
wins
get
fucking
nominated?
everything, because it'll just go to prove how completely out of touch and irrelevant Hollywood has become.
Yep.
Congratulations, Film Academy. You played yourselves. Now it's time to reap the fucking rewards.
Why do we have
Anyway,
these musicals?
that's all I've got for today.
Why would a movie that is so serious, that has this, let's say, serious story to tell, become a musical? If it's a drama, it's serious, you know, cartel, whatnot, why do you have to add music and musical and dancing in it? Just because they're women? Because the whole movie is women, then why don't we have them dancing? Like, what is the point? I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand. It could have been a serious movie with serious topics, serious issues dealing with that, and me watching it seriously. having a serious topic and then people dancing in a court and mentioning vaginas and penises. Like, what? No, thank you. I move on. I ain't watching this.